Alright, hello ACE family. Today we're going to talk about the paint brushes and rollers planogram. Among some other things, just point some stuff out to you. Make sure you're comfortable to have a conversation with everyone who's doing their paint project. So the first thing is we try to make it easy and try to follow the good, better, best system whenever we can. And so that's exactly what we have here. We have the good, and then we have the better, and then we have the best as far as quality of brushes. And what you get with each one is each stage you get a smoother rollout, you don't see the lines in the paint, and it just goes on a little bit better. And so specifically when you get to the purdy stuff, we've got some signage here that don't be afraid to look at. Don't be afraid to use that as a cheater when you're helping customers. But professional painters especially will try to cut in. They'll totally not tape. They'll eliminate taping, and they'll just take a really nice brush and go right up against whatever they're painting against. And it certainly takes some talent there, but there are sometimes some time savings, and then if you wash your brush out over and over again, it will last you many paint jobs. So everything's pretty much self-explanatory, you know, paint brushes, rollers, and then we've got the quality differences, which I went over: the good, the better, and then we've got the best right here. And there's different options because for different jobs, you don't always need something high-end or something low-end. If you're doing a really high-end paint job, high-end brushes are awesome. They make the paint go on better, and they're a great complement to that. If you're throwing on some roofing tar or roofing sealant, you're probably going to throw all that stuff away, and you don't need to spend a lot of money on it. And everyone's got their preference. So within the rollers specifically, I wanted to take a second and just show you a few different sizes. So I'm talking about the diameter of the rollers. Of course, there's the bigger ones, but there's kind of a bigger diameter to make sure that everything fits. And then we go to a medium diameter that that Purdy has in the brushes, and that takes a specific type of roller. And then the last one, kind of the smallest one, are some that just have a wire basically that go through it. And I'm just wanted to highlight that, point that out specifically, just as far as fit, making sure everything goes together for what the customer's getting. So we've got some really awesome just rollers here, and there's different naps. And what a nap means, it is the length of the fiber hairs on the roller. And so if you go extreme, these have the same inside diameter here, but this one on your left is a heck of a lot wider than the one on the right. And so you want different nap sizes for different textures. If you have a very smooth, very minimal texture, a 1/4 inch nap is very common for that application. Let's say you were to paint the pegboard that we have, that would be a 1/4 inch nap application. If someone has some of that real common, the bubble texture on their wall, the 3/8 is the most popular nap size that we sell. It is the most common. It is what the 3-packs are in, is the 3/8 nap. And what this does is the hairs are a little longer, so it can get into some more aggressive spots. You go to a 1/2 inch nap if the texture is even more aggressive. Something like a popcorn ceiling comes to mind. And then you can get even bigger when you're doing, you know, brick or rock, something where you need long fibers to get into those cracks and crevices right there. But it just takes a conversation with the customer, making sure if they're unsure what the nap is, we can just talk about texture real quick, see what they're painting, and get something that ought to be close to help suit them. There's of course some multi-packs to help you save some money. We've got those brushes, and then we've got those down below. These kits are super popular because everything's ready to go. You even have the liners tucked in here too. Whenever I'm checking someone out, usually cut a slit and stuff the paint sticks right in here, just to make it that much easier to carry. Just to have the roller and start with everything fresh. let's see. So we also have paint buckets and liners so that you can be pouring stuff and painting, not have to make so many trips back and forth. So that's kind of nice. These have magnets on them to help keep your brushes good so they don't drip everywhere. And then of course we've got the liners right here too. As we move on, we have identical kits within Ace, so kind of a good, better, best kit on the bottom here. We sell quite a few of these. They're kind of the same idea. You have a brush, some rollers in there, and kind of have all the supplies, because I certainly don't remember all the supplies that I have in my house, but that's why it's here, so it's convenient, and you have all the tools so you don't have to come back to start your project. Everything on the bottom here, we've got different sizes of liners. Generally, if you get the wrong liner, it's not the end of the world. It makes it a little bit more frustrating, so it's good to check. If someone isn't sure, something like this or this is the most popular, but if it's not a perfect fit, a lot of times it can come out, but like I said, it's not the end of the world. We've got the little quart trays. Some of these look pretty similar, but some of them are actually different. So these, for instance, here, we've got, this would be like a shallow tray, and then this is a little bit deeper. So the deeper could work in the shallow one, but really just our best guess is as good as we can do here. When we're on checkout with a customer, we just need to make sure to pull these apart and scrutinize these. They can stick together, and we want to make sure we're scanning every single item. Unfortunately, trays are something that's pretty common for inventory to be off, and we want to make sure that we're scanning each and every one. So we've got the quarts, we've got some different style of trays right here, and generally we've got the liner for the tray that it's next to, so that that's convenient. We've got similar brushes, multi-packs here, so that it's all convenient. And then we've got the 3-packs that are ready to go. Again, the 3-packs are a 3/8 inch nap. We have a huge Spanish population in our town especially, so the bilingual side does come in handy. Don't be afraid, you know, we're not here to sell anybody anything. We are here to get people what they need. And so to be able to say, hey, yeah, you know, check this out, it's a 3-pack, save you some money. Don't be afraid to put that in the customer's hand. Let them feel it, let them touch it, get oriented with it, comfortable with it, know that they're going to use it for their project. Hopefully that makes sense, just to, if we can involve more of the senses with them instead of them just seeing it, them touching and feeling it can help them make the purchase decision. So as we move on here, we've of course got our signage here. If you forget any of this, it goes over very well what a lot of these are used for. And then we kind of get into some, these are, again, the good brushes. We've got the good, better, and then the pretty being the best. Similar items throughout everything, throughout each category, between the kits and the rollers. If someone's, so I don't think I've talked about the foam yet. So these right here are foam rollers, and they're for super smooth surfaces. If you're doing painting a door, painting some cabinets, that's the type of surface that you'd want to use the foam with, because they're going to have a hard time getting in the cracks, but they'll roll very well. Got some multi-packs down here. We've got some 3- and 4-inch rollers on the bottom, as long as the refills right here. Then the trays on the bottom. So, ooh, I don't want to forget about this. We do have some customers that like to take some paints with some texture from time to time, and you actually, usually the texture is on the drywall itself, on the sheetrock, but other times it's actually in the paint. And so if someone wants to do an accent wall or really change their look, there's several of these that we can order, but this is kind of the most popular for our area. So this is a special texture roller that will add some texture to the wall, to the top coat. So kind of interesting, kind of different, but they do exist. Going over here, we have Again, until now, we've been good, better, best. This section is more or less our just the cheap, basic, I'm going to use it one time, throw it away sort of brushes. And so here we've got, let's see, what's the better phrase for the camera? Well, let's do that. So these are fine. These are good. They're inexpensive enough. You're not going to feel bad about throwing these away. Same with the rollers right here. And then we do have, same deal, little kit, really inexpensive. If you're doing something cheap, that's definitely the way to go. Usually when I'm talking to customers, we come up and go, awesome, you're doing a paint project. Thank you so much for choosing Ace. We're so happy to help you out. We've got all of our brushes and rollers, kind of a good, better, best, give them a general overview. And then sometimes folks are looking for foam brushes. We've got the multi-packs here, individuals. These are the cheapest brushes that we have. Usually if someone's getting these, they go, look, this is the cheapest option that we've got. We've got a multi-pack, but the hairs, you're gonna notice some hairs falling out of these. I mean, that's how inexpensive they are. Sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, I'm just doing something. It doesn't really matter. Or going, I want cheap, but I don't want the hairs to fall out. At which point we can go ahead and we can go to these good labeled brushes, still Ace brand, but the hairs are a little more secure in these from our experience anyway. With the rest of this stuff, basically it comes down to like specialty tools to get into special spots. This is kind of a cool device where you dip it and it has wheels, so it's supposed to prevent you from taping, where you just glide the wheels along the ceiling or along a corner, and it will go ahead and paint with the brush on the bottom of this thing right here. There's different applicator pads. This is a skinny brush to get behind like a toilet if you didn't want to move a toilet but you're having a hard time getting back there. Very difficult to get a roller or a brush and a tight squeeze there. So just giving you some ideas, throwing some of these out there. Terry Pad staining kit. We do have some stain brushes here, and by all means these are not cheap at all. We've got a Cabot version, very nice, very thick, holds a ton of stain. Then we've got the Ace version, so this is kind of the good, this is kind of the best when it comes to a stain brush. We just happen to have them right here, so just because there are some cheap items in here doesn't mean that the rest of it is in fact cheap. The rest of this, we've got brush comb, help you rinse out the brush. Here's a store and pour lid, so it snaps on, and you have a little cap here, so it's easy to pour your paint out of the gallon. And then we have different extension brushes and stuff. So this extension brush comes with the roller and everything included. And then there are extendable where you just undo the nut, extend this out, and then you don't have to get a ladder, which I'd rather have an extension brush than be on a ladder myself, but everyone has their preference. Again, I'm just trying to point some of this stuff out to you. This is kind of clever packaging. This is actually the tray that this is packaged into. If someone's doing a very little paint project, that's kind of a nifty deal to recommend. Then kind of lastly, we get into extension poles. And one thing I want to point out, whether you have a 9-inch roller, whether you have a 3-inch roller, all of these are designed to go onto an extension pole. And it screws right on. They're standard threads, and if you have to put anything on there, it's got threads built right into it. That's how every roller in the multi-packs, the value packs come, and it's how all the individual ones are. So that makes it pretty handy that you don't have to pick and choose which roller you have, that they're all going to attach to a pole. This one's kind of my favorite pole. This is pretty cool. When you push it, it comes out in 2 spots, extends pretty quick. Kind of a fun little deal to show customers and say, hey, this is pretty cool. I don't know if they're interested in that, or if they like the more standard extension poles. This one, it doesn't extend, you get rid of that, but the ends screw together, so you can make it as long or short as you need, just by screwing the ends together. The extension poles here are the same as the mops and brooms. Those have the same threads, the same handles on it. So if you do need more options, that's great. But another reason I'm pointing that out is you can say, well, great, yeah, you can get an extension pole if you don't have a ladder or don't want to be up on it. But you can also use this if you need to squeegee your windows, or anyway, do some outside scrubbing. Because they've got the same threads. This tip, this little nipple sticking up, will thread right onto the brushes, the squeegees, and make sure that it holds everything secure. So there's kind of a dual purpose there. There's more extension poles over here, but we found these to be a little bit more heavy duty generally. So I think I've killed the extension poles enough. We can go ahead and move on. I'm going to be real quick here. There's some great videos that are available to really help you learn more about the Graco specific items. But really, I'll just do a general overview. So we used to carry Wagner paint sprayers, and I'm just telling you that so that we can have some name recognition in what professionals are going to be talking about. Wagner's a very popular brand. The reason we switched is because our area, we never had an issue with them, but our geographic area, Graco was the dominant one, and we had many customers that, like professional customers, came in that, oh my goodness, do you have a tip? Do you have a nozzle? Do you have a gun? Do you have a filter? Go, sorry, we had Wagner at the time, and so now we went ahead and switched to Graco, and we've been able to really meet the needs of our customers because this is a more dominant brand in our area. So it wasn't really a quality deal. We've got most of the real common parts that a customer needs, and Ace or Graco, whoever it is, they've done a great job of putting this together. The different paint tips are for different thicknesses. If you're doing stain, you're going to need a different size tip than you are for paint, just because of the thickness of it. So just keep that in mind. Different filters, different extension handles, pump lubrication, spare hoses, and then of course the machines themselves. So with the machines themselves, I used to think that these smaller ones were kind of silly, as far as the application, that you kind of have to pour the paint into them and refill. But if you're doing trim or something intricate, like cabinets, and you need to get into spaces or whatever, they're very handy. My opinion's changed on these quite a bit, and they're very useful for customers. Both of these are corded. There is some battery powered ones out there that we can order. We chose not to stock them here. But basically, as you get bigger, the biggest difference is the horsepower and how much you can spray and what you can spray. So if you have a higher horsepower motor on the paint gun, you can force some thicker stuff through it and spray a little bit faster. That's kind of the biggest difference. So kind of a small and then a bigger unit right here. And then on the bottom, it's again the same thing, kind of horsepower, kind of the good, better, and then a best application, where some of these will more easily go into 5-gallon buckets and make it a little bit more convenient to keep that sprayer feeding what you're needing. So again, kind of a half horsepower good, 5/8 horsepower better, and a 3/4 inch horsepower best. There's some really massive ones that are available through our Ace warehouse and straight from Graco that are a little bit different, so we can provide a customer all of our options. But this seems to be a good assortment for us to carry in the store. It's pretty rare we have to order one, but we certainly are always happy to when the customer needs it. So again, there's a better video on that. Just trying to get you a general overview. We've got this Wagner paint eater too. We've got the replacement discs that we just sold, so we're out. It looks empty, but this is great for, I've had a lot of people buy those for doing their decks to get everything sanded off, eaten off, and get that redone. They do eat paint off, so you can have a bare surface and get it perfect from there on out. The last little portion here is the plastic protection, plastic covering, floor protection, whatever you want to call it. We have drop cloths on the bottom that are paper and cloth, so that you can pull those around, and they're a little bit hardier, a little bit heavier duty than the plastic that's prone to ripping. The plastic is available in different thicknesses, and the way they measure the thicknesses is called a mil thickness. So for instance, grab this because it looks like it's the biggest number. This is one of the thinnest sheets of plastic that we have, is a 0.7 mil thickness, and then it goes up to a 2 mil thickness. Everything's color coded here. 2 mil thickness, and then we go to the blue that's a 3 mil thickness, so that everybody knows exactly what they're getting. There's different dimensions for taping off windows, if you're covering a floor, if you're covering a piano or a kitchen table, whatever it is that you don't want to get paint on, there's a lot of protection here. Now, in addition to that, there's some bigger rolls too. We got 10 by 25, 15 by 25, 20 by 25, and they follow the same color coordination. There's black and clear, but oh goodness, 3 mil thickness is going to be blue, and then when we get to green, it's actually a 4 mil thickness right here. And then up against our stairs here, we've got massive sheets of plastic that are 100-foot rolls, 50-foot rolls, but 10 or 20 foot wide, and so that comes in handy for our customers too. The reason I'm bringing these up is we have the different thicknesses. That's the first thing, but it's very popular that folks will use these for their windows in the winter to help with insulation. So they'll take usually the thicker one, usually the green, cut it up to hang around their windows on the outside and staple that together, and that's a common use. But of course, it can be used to cover the flooring. Ties into paint very nicely too. In addition to that, we have floor protection that's more of an adhesive. This particular one's a carpet shield. We sell this quite often. And then we have a multi-surface floor covering, floor protection, and that works great for wood or linoleum or whatever. You don't want contractors walking straight on the floor. Helps give you a layer of protection. And then of course a massive roll right here and spares up top. So I think that pretty much sums up a lot of the paint, some of the protection that comes in nice with the tape, the brushes, making sure they have everything they need for the project. So as always, let us know if you have any questions. Thanks.